Aloha, everybody, and welcome to the Jason Jones Show. I am your host, Jason Jones, broadcasting high atop the Vulnerable People Project's new studio right here in the heart of the hill country of Texas. We're just settling in. This is our first day in the new studio. I'm a little nervous. We're hoping there'll be no technical difficulties, but we had to kind of rush our schedule because we have a great guest for you today. But before I tell you about a great guest, I just want to let you know this show, like all of our shows, is being brought to you by the Vulnerable People Project, standing in solidarity with the most vulnerable communities in the world when the world has walked away. And I want to tell you what we've done this week. This week, VPP delivered its first 70 pop-up homes to Holy Family Catholic Church in Gaza. And by early December, we'll have provided a pop-up home to every Christian in Gaza, Catholic and Orthodox. Not only that, we've ordered our first mobile home as a gift to Holy Family Catholic Church. And we're preparing to also we've have pop-up homes for the orphanage community. We're continuing to deliver water and food, hot meals to the Christian communities and to the camps caring for orphans across Gaza. And that is all thanks to the Vulnerable People Project. But not only that, we're delivering therapeutic food program. Our therapeutic food program in Sudan is rolling ahead. We're preparing to send body armor to our security guards in Nigeria. We're providing education for Afghan girls and more. And if you want to know what we do, go to vulnerablepeopleproject.com, look around our website, and if you're like, I want to live a life in solidarity with the most vulnerable people in the world, then scroll to the right, click, and make a small donation, and then you're part of the team. Okay, so now this is our first day in our new studio, and I'm a little nervous, but we had to do a show today. Why? As you know, for several years now, the Vulnerable People Project has been working in Nigeria. Our program in Nigeria began when a young Lebanese Catholic woman came to an event that I was speaking at in New York City on behalf of the Ukrainian community. Okay, do you follow that? A Lebanese Catholic young woman came to an event in New York City where I was speaking on behalf of the Ukrainian community. In fact, I had just returned from Ukraine. And she cornered me. And she said, "Why aren't you helping the persecuted church in Nigeria?" And I said, "My hands are full. I got a lot going on right here. I have no more bandwidth." But she was persistent. And then she introduced me to Father Viktor Akandam. And Father Viktor, it was really, I just wanted this girl to leave me alone. She was very persistent. And so we started with a very small grant to Father Viktor. But Father Viktor's work with the small grant really was unbelievable to me. And so we slowly began to grow that program. And now I would say Nigeria is number 3 of the countries around the world where we serve the vulnerable people. And we anticipate in the next year, it'll be our largest program around the world. And that has all been made possible by this great Catholic priest, Father Viktor Akandam, who is now in the United States with us for the next 3 weeks. We'll be in Washington, D.C. We'll be in Los Angeles. We're going to be meeting with entertainment industry executives. We're going to be going to some embassies. We're going to be meeting with members of the Trump administration. But before we do that, we're going to interview him right here on the Jason Jones Show. Father Viktor Akandam, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jason. I am happy to be here. As you have introduced me, I am Father Viktor Akandam, a Catholic priest of the Catholic Diocese of Ikorodu in Akwa Ibom State, that is South Nigeria. So I'm happy to be here. And it has been wonderful these years because the support you give us in Nigeria has really helped us a lot. Of course, the world today knows what is going on in Nigeria, the persecution of Christians, and no matter how people try to politicize it, we know the genocide that is going on. And it has been rough these years until the VPP through you came to our aid. And you have been able to provide us with support to have security guards in the parishes to be able to protect and defend the church in the local community there. So we are so grateful to you. Of course, so far, what you have given us, we have gotten up to 63 security guards. Apart from providing security, it has also provided a job opportunity for these guys because they were not doing anything. There was nothing for them. And you have come in to provide this, not just securing the church and the priests, but also providing jobs for these young guys who take it up and very happily. And so far, they are doing very well. So we are so grateful to you. Thank you.
Well, Father, we're grateful for you because it's been your leadership, your organizational skills, your leadership abilities that have made it easy for us, that we've kind of been overwhelmed with the wars in Gaza, Ukraine, Sudan. We've been overwhelmed. And but thanks to your leadership, you made it very easy for us to grow this program. And I think something that makes our VPP different is, we only have 4 employees in the United States.
Yeah.
And what that allows us to do is find partners in the community. So not only are we providing support for the community, we're creating job opportunities.
Yeah.
And I would much rather hire people out of the community that understand the problems,
Yeah.
and we slowly build processes and procedures and gain trust with each other that allow us to do greater good. But everything we've done in Nigeria is thanks to you. Fathers, it is. So you brought it up. It's in the media right now.
Yeah.
Donald Trump thrust it into the world's imagination. People are now really focused on the suffering of Christians in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Before I get to any of the political questions or the tougher questions, can you explain to us what it is like for Catholics and for Christians generally in Nigeria, especially in those states most directly impacted by Islamist attacks? And you yourself were attacked recently. We lost a security guard who was murdered guarding seminarians.
Yeah.
So it's something that you have felt directly. Our organization has impacted directly. But can you give us kind of paint a picture of what day-to-day life is like for Christians in Nigeria?
It's been awful. I don't even know the right term to use here. I have a priest close friend of mine that was kidnapped, and he remained in captivity for almost 2 weeks, was tortured, and the ransom was demanded. And of course, the bishops in Nigeria would not pay any ransom. They told them, either you kill him or you release him. And when they saw that nothing forth was coming in terms of ransom, they had to release him after he was tortured and tortured and tortured. That is just one out of hundreds of priests and nuns. I don't even want to talk about Christians. That you wake up every day to hear stories of churches being burnt down, Christians persecuted and killed. Well, the whole story about genocide here, that people are coming up to politicize, to talk about, to condemn what Trump is trying to do. My point is not even about whether there is genocide or not, or whether Trump is coming in to take over Nigeria or not. But the question should be, are there killings? Are people killed? Are Christians killed? Are Muslims killed? These facts cannot be taken away. The figures are there, the pictures are there over the internet and all that. So these things happen, they are very real. So the Nigerian leaders are trying to cover up because they have their selfish ambition. In Nigeria, we are almost at another election year, 2027. So the politicians are doing everything to ensure that they retain power. Even if to the detriment of Christians and killing people, they do that. So it has been a very terrible situation. People are killed, Christians are killed, and the number of Christians that are being killed are way more than what happens to the Muslims. In Plateau State, in the Meduguri, in Benue State, in the Zamfara State, name them. In the South, even though it doesn't really come so much to the South, but it is coming in gradually. Because some of the priests that were kidnapped are from the South. A priest will stay in the rectory and they'll just pop in, kidnap you, and that will be your end. So it's been on and on.
Do you have fear, generally?
Of course.
Constantly?
Of course. You can't even travel far. Can't even go. In fact, what I'm seeing in the US now, I see, look, like that day I arrived, as I 2
And this is your
a.m.
first time. This is really your first time out of Nigeria in your life.
Yes, my first time. As at 2 a.m., I was surprised to see the airport full. I was surprised to see people on the road. And I tell you...
We went to a store at 2 a.m. You said, how are people in the store at 2 a.m?
This is it. I tell you, in Nigeria...
We went to Buc-ee's. The first thing Father saw outside of Nigeria was the second greatest miracle after the Eucharist, Buc-ee's. We went to Buc-ee's.
Yeah. So 6 p.m., 7 p.m., nobody on the road. Not because you wouldn't want to, but because you're afraid. If you try to come out on the road by that time, you are kidnapped. And once you are being kidnapped, that's your end. Unfortunately, the police cannot help. The armies cannot help. So we are just helpless. It's a very difficult situation.
Father, you were talking about, there's this debate about whether or not it's a genocide or whether or not it's based on religion or farmer versus herder or this and this and that. You know, I understand we should be precise when we use language. In fact, I've been very blessed. I went to the University of Hawaii, which isn't, it's not thought of like Harvard or something like that, but it's a great university. And I was a student of Dr. Kate Zhou, who was one of the leading experts on the Chinese Cultural Revolution and the Great Leap Forward and the famine and democide. And there was the greatest political scientist of the 20th century who was a student of genocide is R.J. Rummel. He wrote a book called Death by Government. He coined the term democide. And so people want to debate, is this an ethnic cleansing? Is this a genocide? It's definitely an ecclesiaside. It's definitely a war on an ecclesial community, Christians, for sure. And Nigeria is much more ethnically more diverse than any American could ever imagine.
Sure.
Also, the violence is coming from political Islam. It's coming from Islamists. And sometimes we'll say, well, Muslims are dying too. Yes. But they're being killed by Islamists.
Of course, not by Christians.
Not by Christians, yeah.
So the point is, if there is any way to exterminate these terrorists, the Muslims will be free and the Christians will be free. But sometimes we begin to wonder, do the Muslims really want to be free in Nigeria? Because you see the way they are defending this genocide as if it is so wonderful to kill.
The general community does?
Yeah, as if human life does not make any sense to them. So you will not hear of any Christian in Nigeria rejoicing over the death of Muslims. You will not hear that. So the concern is human life here, because human life matters a lot, whether you're a Christian or Muslim or whatever you are. But it seems it is only the Christians that are thinking this way. The Muslims are, at this time, trying to defend that there's no genocide. So whether there's genocide or not, people are being killed.
Yes.
And
by Islamists.
Of course.
By political Islam.
Yeah, by the Boko Harams. Christians do not have such sect that comes up to kill people. We don't have that. And we try to tolerate and tolerate and tolerate. Even some people will call it on Christians to come up with arms to defend themselves. Yet we cannot do it because it's not in the nature of Christians to be violent. We continue to follow the teachings of Christ, pray for your enemy and those who persecute you. We try to forgive them. All we want is for us to live in peace. That is all. But it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking. Father, so can you help us understand? So we know it's Christians in Nigeria live in fear. And there's a saying, as Nigeria goes, Africa goes.
Sure.
It's the largest economy in Africa, I believe. The population, is it the largest economy?
My father grew up in the north. And when we were born, he used to tell us, if we have opportunity to go to live in the north, it would have been wonderful. Because it was peaceful then. So now the Christians that are living and doing businesses in the north, they're trying to come back to the south.
Oh, no.
Because they are living in fear.
So you're saying when your dad was a boy, they could live amongst the Muslim communities in peace and prosperity?
It's difficult.
But now it's not possible.
It's not possible.
But then, was it still predominantly Muslim in the north? Was it predominantly Muslim?
Of course.
But it was safe.
They were safe. Boko Haram is a recent development, let's say about between 10, 15 years ago.
Where does the money come from? So I want to get this. Let's get to the roots. So we have, maybe you could explain to us the roots of the Fulani and of Boko Haram. Where does the funding come and the motivation come from? And we're told, there's this battle in the United States. Is it Islamist violence or is it tribal violence? And our U.S. State Department always wants to say it has nothing to do with religion.
Yeah.
I get criticized when I condemn Israeli settlers for killing Palestinians, and I criticize political Zionism for its violence. That's, people will say, we don't want to talk about that because they'll foment anti-Semitism. And then people will say, you don't want to talk about political Islam or the Muslim Brotherhood or Boko Haram because, God forbid, you might foment anti-Muslim hate. And the last thing I want to do, like you said, we're Christians, is I don't want to foment hatred to ethnic or religious communities.
Yeah.
But I think we have to address the truth.
Of course.
We have to address the truth. Now, I have to imagine there's economic, ethnic, and religious components to this. But what are the roots of the Fulani violence? What are the roots of the Boko Haram violence?
Let me begin by saying it is not all the Muslims that are violent. Even though it is difficult to see any of them coming up to speak openly.
Because they're afraid too.
They're afraid because if you do, they will attack you. And of course, many of the Muslims that are being attacked, if you trace, you discover that these are the ones who don't support the killing and all the trouble they are making. So talking about the root, I can't say exactly how it came out. We just woke up to hear of Boko Haram saying that Western education is evil. That's how they started to attack Christians and all that. Yet, ironically, the weapons they are using are Western. The internet they are using are Western. Yet they say Western education is evil. And they go about destroying and destroying and destroying. So they are also the ones that are the Fulanis as well. Because this
was... help us understand the difference between the Fulani and Boko Haram.
The difference, I can't really say exactly. Because these two groups, the Fulani headsmen, those ones are the ones that have cows.
That's why they say it's herder violence.
The herders, yes. They will move around, enter people's farms, and the cows will eat the crops. And if the farmer tries to speak up, they'll kill him. And making life very difficult.
So would you say it's fair to say that maybe Fulani violence is more economic and Boko Haram is more religious?
Well, all of them, in my view, are political.
So all political.
Political.
They're just using religion.
Yeah. One of our former military head of state then, Sani Abacha, that was killed, he said, if any terrorist group lasts in a country more than 24 hours, that means those are the helms of affairs, the leaders, they are responsible.
I want to repeat that. That is brilliant. Any terrorist organization that exists in a country for more than 24 hours are the hands of the leaders.
The leaders should be held responsible. That's what he said.
And the most dangerous people are the guys with suits and big smiles.
And when you take time to look at this, you will see that what this man said is true. For instance, I'm not afraid to say that the vice president now was a governor in Borno State when almost 200 young girls, students, were kidnapped. And when you look at the whole situation, it's so ridiculous how possible it is for 200 students will be driven out of the school and nobody stops them. Were they driven out with buses? How many buses? Of course, it wouldn't be anything less than 10. And they drove out in convoy like that, where we have security personnel, the armies are there. Nobody stopped them. And up to date, nobody knows where those people
were. Father, as somebody who does logistics for a living, VPP is really just a logistics organization, right? And the idea of, and I was military, to run an operation like that where you're going to drive across hundreds of kilometers to get to a site, to kidnap 200 girls and then drive hundreds of kilometers without the government stopping you?
And taken to where?
Where did they go?
They call it Sambisa Forest. That's the name of the place they call it. And so, can't government do something about it? They know all these things. So they are just trying to use religion and ethnicity and all that. But the main thing is the bigger picture is political.
So here you're a priest, right? I want to get you on this. So we're talking politics. You're a Catholic priest. I'm a Catholic layman. VPP is a Catholic apostolate.
Yeah.
Where does your role as a priest, how does politics fit in? How does, as a Catholic priest in Nigeria, engaging in politics fit in to your vocation as a priest?
Yesterday, you guys had election here, right?
Yes.
And I was just moving around, and I didn't see anything concerning election. I only read it on the net.
That's because it was a midterm election. You come for a presidential election cycle. That's all you'll see, which is embarrassing because local elections are more important than national.
I'm coming. In Nigeria, even if it is a local community election, there's no movement.
Oh.
And apart from that, people will be living in fear. Because if you come out, and even though they are going out to vote, if you don't vote the party that is in power, your life will be threatened. So all this, as a priest, I talk about it. In fact, to the last election, I dedicated every 5 minutes of my homily in talking about election in Nigeria. But at the end of it all, going out there to vote, you'll not be able to vote because the ballot box will be snatched. And before you know it, fights will break out. And that is how it will be. So that at the end, your vote cannot and does not count. So as priests, what are we going to do?
So then Nigeria is not a democracy.
Well, that's what they say, but I don't know how democratic it is. So as a priest, what are you going to do than to keep on sensitizing the people? But the same people you are talking to, they are hungry people. They are jobless. And once it is time for election, the politicians will come out with money to induce them. And of course, anyone that is hungry, even if you've seen $1, you rush to it just to eat. And once you get that, you'll be obliged to sell your conscience and vote for them.
You know, Father, I once was, this is going to be an absurd story to you. I was once at O'Hare Airport. Flights were shut down for 48 hours. I lost my wallet. So I'm stuck at an airport for 48 hours. This was like 12 years ago. I didn't have money. I had a ticket, couldn't leave the airport, couldn't eat. Luckily, I have water fountains. I can drink water. So for 2 days, I didn't eat.
Okay.
And I would walk past the restaurants and I would look at people eating. I remember I walked past the Numero Uno's Pizza there in O'Hare Airport. And I watched them eating pizzas. Like I had thoughts of violence. Like I wanted to hit them and take their pizza. Father, forgive me for I've sinned. But I remember at the time going, Lord, thank you for giving me empathy.
Yeah.
2 days of hunger gave me anger, gave me envy, just because I was a dummy and lost my wallet. So as a priest, when you have to hear confessions or deal with young people in your community who are poor, who are have the throat of corrupt government, the foot of corrupt government officials on their throat, maybe they see Western media and they have envy for how we live.
Sure.
Or anger.
Sure.
How do you, as a priest, talk to young people who are angry at the corruption and no prospects for help in the future or hope for success in the future?
They say a hungry man is an angry man. And you talk and talk and talk without giving out something, it can be somehow. That is why I want to appreciate VPP so much, because the support is not just about the security. There are so many that we have empowered and given hope and have made them to learn trade. And of course, this September, we were able to pay school fees for up to 50 children.
And it's not a lot of money. If I share with people, how much did it cost us to provide a year of education for 50 children? How many?
For 1 year.
Yes.
For 1 year. 50,000 naira, which is not up to $30
per child
for 1 year.
Do you hear
So
that?
that is what it is.
No, it's unbelievable. Once, I don't want to say in what country, but I had to ask a guard at a facility for aid in helping migrants. He was from Uganda. And I said, how can I bless you if you help us give aid to these migrants in this refugee camp? He said, I always wanted my daughter to go to Catholic high school, for a boarding school for 4 years. And I said, well, how much will that cost? I was scared. It's $3,500 to give this security guard in a Middle Eastern country at a refugee camp, who made it possible for us to give aid and comfort to migrants who were committing suicide. They were so despairing and depressed. And it was 4 years of school, room, board, and food for $3,500. And we're one body. Let me ask you, I think about this sometimes. We don't want to be sad, those of us Christians who are prosperous. Like, I don't want to mope around, oh, somewhere on earth, there's a Catholic being persecuted and hungry. Oh, I can't smile. I think of what it says in the Gospels, like, we're one body. And when one of us suffers, we all suffer. One of us celebrates, we all celebrate.
Yeah.
So now when I'm at a baseball game with my sons, I'm cheering for the whole body of Christ. I'm thinking of you and our partners in Nigeria and Afghanistan and Iraq and Syria and Gaza and the West Bank. Because when I cheer, I want to cheer for them and with them. But I also want to be mindful of the struggle of our brothers and sisters who are members of this one body, who are suffering. So is it okay we should celebrate, right? And be joyful, even when we know our brothers and sisters are suffering?
What you have done for us means a whole lot. And of course, for us, you should be, because you have touched the lives of people, not just Catholics. There are others. People, for instance, where I'm working in that local community, many of them are not Catholics. I told you about my volleyball team. Those young boys, not all of them are Catholics, but I have been able to make them have one or two things to do through your support.
You drive 8 hours, 9 hours for us to provide support for a Jewish community that's imperiled.
Sure. I did.
Yeah.
So it's something so wonderful. So you can celebrate because you have done what Christ asked you to do. When I was hungry, you gave me food. When I was sick, you visited me and all that. So that's what it is. So it's something so wonderful. And we sincerely appreciate that. So it's not about, as a priest, preaching, but showing them the way. And how do you show the way? When your hands are empty. So that is only possible because we have people like you and your organization that supports us to be able to do all this. So it's been so wonderful.
I'm embarrassed at how small our support is. I want it to be more and more.
It's not.
But what I think of is, I just want your community to know we love them and we think about them, even if it's small. I know it's not small to those we can touch, but then there's so much beyond, like it's endless. There's a sea, as Mother Teresa said, we live in a sea of sorrow. But she had this great, have you heard her analogy of the bucket? Someone asked Mother Teresa, how can you be so joyful and not overwhelmed? Because every day you go out into the slums of India and you can only help so many people. And Mother Teresa says, I wake up every morning, I take my little bucket into the sea of suffering, I dip my bucket, fill it, then I go home and I tend to my bucket. And so in a way, all we can do is tend to the bucket. I don't imagine I'm tending to a sea, right?
Yeah.
No. We're not, VPP is not tending to a sea.
Yeah.
We're tending to our bucket. But maybe the sea can see through our work with the bucket, we're loved. Does this make sense?
Sure.
This is my hope.
That is wonderful. That's wonderful. We do appreciate. And those children in school that we paid school fee for, school has started and they were at home because many of them are orphans. So we had to go into the communities and ask, why are you not in school? Say, my parents are no more and we don't have money to pay. How much? You see, so we had to bring all of them together and they were happy. So the question some of them were asking was, so after this school year, what happened in years to come? So God will provide. As he did this time, let's watch out, just go first. So it's something so beautiful and wonderful. And that's giving them hope a lot. So we truly appreciate all that you have done, the good heart that you have, and the organization, of course, We are grateful.
Well, I feel just as an American Catholic, I owe Nigeria because, Bishop Fulton Sheen wrote a beautiful book on missions in the 1950s. He said, one day, can you imagine, maybe Africa will send missionary priests to America and Europe. Well, look at today.
Yeah.
I've never been in a parish. There's a few things in life that I can promise you. There's not a parish in America that hasn't had a Nigerian priest, and there's not a football team that hasn't had a Samoan.
Yeah.
These things are just true.
Yeah.
And so we have a responsibility. Like, I just feel like we have been so blessed. Cardinal Lorenzi, I have fallen this. I listened to his talks thousands of times. He's just, to me, the best catechist. And we're one body. I want to now bring back to American politics. I always joke, I wish I was a shepherd in Portugal, because then I wouldn't feel responsible for the sufferings in the world. But we should love our neighbor. And as an American, because of the policies and the size of our economy, our country's policies and the size of our $26 trillion economy, we touch the world. So when you're an American, everyone on earth is our neighbor. And we sort of have a responsibility for them.
Yeah.
And so now President Trump came out and just recently, last week, made serious threats.
Yeah.
And has the impact of Trump's words been felt yet in Nigeria? What have the results been?
A lot. And in the seminary, one of the seminaries VPP is supporting, in July, the seminary was attacked. One of the security guards was killed. The 3 seminarians were kidnapped. And they have been in captivity all along. Now we are hearing of the release of those children.
The seminarians from our seminary,
yes,
that were attacked,
yes,
are free.
3 seminarians were kidnapped. Were attacked. So the impact of Trump's threat is really wonderful. And I pray every day that Trump should not change his mind. A whole lot of...
Trump should not change his mind.
Yes. Nigerians are saying a whole lot of things, and of course the country is divided now, some in support, some against. But whichever side anyone is, my own is, let the lives of people be saved.
Yes.
So if you are on the side of Trump not coming, would that save the lives of Nigerians? So why were they killing all these years? Why were they killing all these years? So why didn't Nigerian government save Nigerians all these years? And you want to wake up now and act, Trump should come. He should come.
Trump should come to Nigeria.
We need him. And people are claiming when he comes, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. I'm just thinking of a situation where someone rightfully has 3, let's say 3 mangoes. You know mangoes, right?
Mango. I'm from Hawaii. I love mangoes.
Yeah, you have 3 mangoes. I'm supposed to give you 3 mangoes every day, but I refuse to give you any. And someone outside saw that I refused to give you these 3 mangoes, came up to ask me, why are you not giving him the 3 mangoes? And before you know it, people began to come to ask, why did you ask him? As the one that is supposed to be receiving this mango, and they said this one that is coming to ask questions is coming because he has something to gain. I would say, let him come, so long as he's going to give me, even if it is 1, because we have been having these mangoes all these years and none came to me. So that is the situation in Nigeria. They said Trump is coming to do this, Trump is coming to do that for his own selfish interest. No problem. If his own selfish interest is going to save the lives of Nigerians, so be it. Because we have...
Even if it's in his selfish interest.
Yes.
Even if you disagree with him on everything else.
And we are safe. So be it.
So be it.
Because we have been in this mess all these years and we have been deprived of a whole lot of things. Now look at me in America, where we have light 24 hours. I have told you, where I am working for the past 10 years, not even 1 hour electricity.
I mean, it was so shocking to me when you asked us for solar for the hospital. And I thought, wait, the hospital doesn't have electricity?
You don't have.
As an American, it's strange to comprehend.
It's not only the hospital, the entire community and beyond.
Can you explain how we provide, what about the hospital thanks to you that we've supported?
My goodness, we are always grateful. We've gotten, the solar cost almost 20 million naira. And that has made us to light up the hospital. And from that solar, we are able to have water.
It was
well.
$18,000.
Yeah.
So for us guys, for VPP as a small organization, $18,500 is what it costs. Actually,
Yes.
it's a lot of money actually for VPP, but to provide light for a hospital, and then look at what the light allowed us to do. So now we have light for the hospital.
Sure,
we have electricity. Now what were we able to do after the electricity?
And the impact of the light is not only in the hospital, but the entire community. Because the entire community, they do come to the hospital to charge their phone, to do whatever they need to do with electricity. And they're always very happy. Even when they don't know the source of the light, but they're always praying for whoever is responsible for this light. Now you saw how the nuns were very happy when you provided solar for them in their community as well.
No, we just, for a religious community, we were just able to provide solar.
So that is how bad
and the sisters, maybe we can edit it in or put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
But they said, we have so much light, like people in the city. And then once the Mother Superior said, more than the people in the city, you know?
So my point is, if the coming of Trump is going to put things right in Nigeria, let him come.
Yeah.
And of course, I know, because this is the major problem we are having. The leaders who are hiding under the umbrella of religion to kill just to remain in power. Because if Trump comes in, it's going to affect their political ambition. And of course, we will be liberated. We will be liberated and we will have life to live. So let Trump come.
Let Trump come. We're going to be in D.C. together. We're going to deliver that message directly to the White House. Can I shift gears now to just as a priest? First of all, it's just a privilege for me as a lay Catholic man to have a working relationship with priests. You know, I'm an adult convert, so I just am always so grateful that I'm able to have friendships and partnerships with, you know, so many priests and so many sisters. But you're a man and you have the same thoughts and hopes and fears and insecurities that we do. As a Catholic priest, you suffered a brutal attack recently. You see our co-religionists suffering. Can you tell me where you find hope in this? Do you ever struggle with acedia or despair or wrestle with God as a priest? I know you're not supposed to show these things, but you're a man. How, you know, and I asked this question because I just came out of like 4 years of like really wrestling with God. I said I was in the car with him. We were driving in the same direction, but we weren't talking. I was like, let's not talk. Let's just listen to the radio because I'm just trying to wrap my mind around all the dying and suffering and we're just kind of being overwhelmed. How have you dealt with this?
I have many and many experiences and encounters with Christ. And I even want, if there is another life, I will still want to be a priest because I have felt Christ in my life and I'm not boasting what he has used me to do to save humanity. And to be a priest is challenging, very, very challenging, especially in the part of our world. It's not easy. But people now look up to us priests. Even when we don't have. The words you talk to them when they are in despair, when they are sick, when they are hopeless, means a lot. Someone else can say the same thing, but just be bad when it comes from a priest. So it means a lot to be a priest. I'm always proud to be one. And I'll always remain grateful to Christ, who found me, though unworthy, but he called me to serve. And, you know, as a priest, you are also being expected to live to a certain standard in terms of morality, to be able to keep the people, to be able to stand out there and tell people the truth. Not saying one thing and doing another thing. No, it wouldn't correspond with the life as a priest. So we try to see how to balance up things. We preach the gospel of Christ and of course, and live it out, first of all, because you have to be a shining example for the people you are leading to follow so that it can help them so well. So priesthood is so wonderful. It's so wonderful with its challenges, but we keep on going on. And we know that the Christ we are following cannot mislead us. And you know that looking at Nigeria and the future, sincerely speaking, I do not know what the future looks like, but I'm only hoping on God that with God everything is possible. That is why I keep on saying Trump should come. If our salvation will be from him, let him come. That is humanly speaking. But of course, God will not come down to fight these physical wars for us. He just had to allow some of these to happen to also make us draw closer to him. So we see this, in fact, what the early Christians went through cannot be compared to what we are facing. So I keep on telling people that we have to endure because our journey is not ending here. In fact, the lives we are living here is nothing compared to eternity. So that is why no matter what we face, I encourage people to endure and believe in God. Even if we don't see that light in Nigeria, there's light in the afterlife, in eternity. So that is our hope, because Christ cannot disappoint, he cannot fail. He will lead us to that eternal light. At least we'll be sure of being happy if we are not happy here. So that is how it is.
Father, and last question.
Mm-hmm.
So my hope for Nigeria next year, by the end of 2026, is to provide security for 100 Catholic institutions. This is the goal of VPP: hospitals, schools, seminaries, and parishes. What is your goal for VPP in Nigeria in 2026?
I am thinking of going to the north, especially like Benue State. In Benue State, we have a Catholic priest that is the governor there. So he should support VPP to be able to provide security there, because the Christians in the north are terrible. It's terrible. So as much as we appreciate your effort, we also in Nigeria has to reciprocate by scouting out these places that are vulnerable, so that we'll meet the right people who are really in dire need of this security and the support from you.
Well, this is our hope too. And thanks to you scouting out, it was a great honor for me. Again, it's like I always am overwhelmed. Like, who are we to get to do this? Who are we to get to provide the Christians of Gaza with homes? Who are we, thanks to you? To me, it was our privilege. We were able to provide the security for the Bishops' Conference of Nigeria.
Sure.
What an honor.
Wow, it was awesome. The bishop was very happy, because in as much as you say it's Catholic, the bishops can't do it alone. What they did was not enough. Because if these people decide to strike, if you don't have enough security power, they will overpower you. So what VPP did, boosted the security. Otherwise, if they were planning to have like 10, for instance, what VPP did made them to have 20. And it was wonderful. So the bishops came and stayed there for the 9 days and went without any threat at all. It was awesome. It was great.
Well, Father Viktor, I can't thank you enough. It's been a great privilege for us to partner with you. And now that the world is paying attention to Nigeria, hopefully we can see not only our work grow, but other apostolates show up and care for the people of Nigeria. And thank you very much, Father Viktor.
Thank you, Jason.
I got a present for you. So you got your homemade VPP hat. I picked you up. Yes. I was so excited. Do you know we have Nigeria? We have flags for all the countries where we work.
Okay.
But Nigeria flags were our most popular with their donors. Okay. So we're out of the Nigeria flags, but we have the VPP hat.
Oh, wonderful.
And then we have the VPP patch.
Oh.
I also have, we're going to give you the U.S. patch.
Oh.
And I got more. This is for Israel. This is for the persecuted church in the West Bank and in Gaza. I got more. And I got Hawaii. We rebuilt the Catholic school and provided aid for the people of Lahaina after the fire. And so that was the patch for that project.
So I can remove this one and put on this one.
You can put on the official hat. Now it's official.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Look at that.
Thank you so much.
Do you know how we never had hats? We never had any merch. And then all of a sudden our partners in Afghanistan were making flags and backpacks and notepads and hats with VPP on it. And one of my employees said, how come the VPP staff in Afghanistan has VPP hats and we don't? So, I guess we need to make some hats. So now we have some hats.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I'm going to land the plane. Guys, I think we did okay. Well, no, if you're seeing this, it was a success. I'm nervous that maybe we didn't record anything because this is our first time. But it was a privilege. You know, Father Viktor's life was probably saved by VPP security teams.
Sure.
And that was made possible by our donors. And the largest place where VPP finds our donors is this podcast. Can you believe this? So if you've been listening to the show and now watching this show, as we're going to be doing more of these video shows, I hope that you become a partner with the Vulnerable People Project. Because for me, I always say, if you've ever been to the Trump Hotel, I used to go to the Trump Hotel in D.C. One of my supporters was a big supporter of Trump's, and she would always put me up at the Trump Hotel, and it had such great hospitality. And so I said to my staff, we're not a human rights organization, we're a hospitality organization, and we want to have this kind of extreme hospitality. The donors own the hotel, and we, Father Viktor and I and our staff, we work for the hotel. I'm just the concierge guy at the concierge desk. And then our owners tell us to give the best service. And the people that stay at the hotel, those are the people we serve. And so they say, we need electricity and we need incubators. We'll bring that right up to your room, sir. Here's an incubator. Here's solar. We need chickpeas and rice. In Gaza. Okay, here you go, sir. We'll send it right up. We need pop-up homes for the Christian community because not all of their homes were destroyed. Okay, sir. Okay, miss. We'll send that right to your room. And this is how I see our work. But you're the owner. Okay, you guys own this. And if you're not an owner, it's easy to become an owner of this mission. Go to vulnerablepeopleproject.com, scroll up, click on it. Look at what we do first. Look at all the videos, because sometimes people say, well, you say you do, I don't believe you do. Well, we document everything we do. And you can go look at all of our videos. You can see all the work that we do. And if you believe in our work, which you're gonna, just please become a monthly donor, give your best one-time gift. Even if you're to me, my biggest donor is a Syrian Christian who donates $2 a month. Every month, because been doing this for years, because he said he was so grateful how we advocated for them during the genocide that he insists on doing this even though he's struggling. So to me, my biggest donor is that $2 a month donor. So whatever it is you can do, please do it, because more oars in the water, the easier it is for us to row and the more work that we can do. Because again, we're surrounded by a sea of human suffering. We have a little bucket, but with each new donor, our bucket gets a little better. And so we have a little more human suffering that we can tend to. All right, guys. So this has been the premiere episode of the Jason Jones Show in our new studio. How blessed with Father Viktor.
Yeah.
Oh, Roman Catholic priest. It's just a blessing to me. All right. So until next time, this has been the Jason Jones Show.
All
right. Thanks, Father.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
All right. Aloha, guys. Aloha.